Duh. Subscribe to the channel. Vera Ivanovna ran to the farm and began to clean the house. She made cakes, put the oven on the stove to cook. Only dust flew. The neighbor, Baba Toja, looked out through the fence and began to ask with curiosity. "Hello, Varenchik, why did you make such a general cleaning? What important events are planned?" The woman wiped her forehead and replied, "Oh, Aunt Toja is planning. My daughter, Nadia, called. She's going home with her city fiancé today. She will introduce me to him. And he is not a simple guy. Lyosha is one of the important businessmen in the family. So I've been spinning since the morning." The granny only choked with her tongue. "Congratulations. Well done, girl." She tore off some prints. "So you will be an important bird now? Look, you will get to know each other." Nadezhda sighed. "Oh, I wish I could not look at it. What if Barchik will not like it? We are simple people, village people, not exactly rich. I am somewhat anxious." In the evening, guests arrived. Nadezhda dressed up her dress decently. She began to meet and caress her daughter with her fiancé. She was worried for no reason. Alexei turned out to be a simple, open, and sociable guy. He didn't get too much into it and behaved very respectfully. He was giving out pies and cheeses. "Thank you, Vera Ivanovna. Everything is so wonderful and delicious. It's incomparable with restaurant food. And in general, it's nice in your house, it's cozy." Nadia shone and didn't take her eyes off Suzanov and began an important conversation. "Mom, we came here for something. Lyosha's parents want to meet you personally. After all, everything is serious here. The wedding is scheduled. They invite you to a restaurant in a week. Will you come? For me, this is very important. Understand, Vera's heart is cold inside." "Oh, daughter, why do you go straight to the restaurant? You should have stayed at home, at the family's place. I'm simple and bright. I don't go to such places. I don't have a decent outfit. Will you be there too?" Lyosha answered. "No, the parents said that only they and you. So to speak, a private meeting. Tête-à-tête. Don't worry, everything will be fine. It's just for a couple of hours. You understand, the traditions are such. The Svata should discuss everything, get to know each other better. We'll soon become one family." Nadia sighed. "Okay, my dear ones, I'll come for you. I'm so glad you fell in love with each other. Such a good couple. I can't help but admire." The woman made the young man rest and went to rest in her room. Nadia showed Lyosha her childhood photos and hissed. "Look, it's been 5 years. I was really funny. The haircut is under the pot, and the ears stick out. And this is at the graduation in school. This is in your city. There are people in each class. And we had only. But how friendly. Well, how are you here? Probably wild, huh? All the comforts in the yard, the Russian stove. And, I loved it so much in childhood when there was a cold frost outside the window, to climb on the bed with the cat and warm up. It was so sweet there." Lyosha gently kissed the bride. "I like it here. I am calm about the fact that you are from the village. What's wrong with it? People live differently. Not everyone was lucky enough to have rich parents. But that's not the main thing. After all, a lot of girls were sticking to me on the course. But you see, they all seem to be the same, like from a soulless conveyor. Beautiful, fashionable dressed, clapping their eyelashes, and there is nothing in their heads. There's nothing to talk about. I just dream of getting them married to a restaurant and giving them presents. On my phones, it seems like they've messed up. They take selfies and put their lips together with a duck. Funny. And you're different, real. You have a natural beauty that's not ordinary, but so tempting. And you're smart, well-read, and interesting. So, when parents get to know each other, I'll get my diploma and we will play a wedding." Nadia was mingling with such sincere words. She pressed on Lisha and whispered, "I love you so much, Lashinka. You are the best for me. So be it." The moon shone dimly through the curtain. The groom had been singing sweetly for a long time, laughing, and Nadia was lying and dreaming how they would get married soon. And she also remembered her childhood and youth. In this quiet village of Vyazniki, all the childhood of Nadia has passed. She grew up with her mother, and Father Vazhya died very early, when she was only 2 years old. The girl almost didn't remember him. Only the portrait in the mother's room reminded her of him. Nadia's mother loved her very much, try to make her daughter healthy and dressed. She saved on everything. She worked until she was bright, got up in the morning, and ran to the farm. It was hard work. Mom was very tired. Her hands were sore. She was carrying unlifted bidons. Also, everything needs to be redone at home, and the household needs to be taken care of. The daughter was very sorry for her dear man, because her mother is so beautiful. Long mustache, hair, blue eyes, and potholes on her cheeks. Even now, despite the years of hard work, she looked good, although she has long forgotten what normal care and cosmetics are. And not until the day of the village. A tuxedo, rubber boots, a knee-high heel, and here's the wardrobe. It was my mother who started persuading my daughter to go to the city after school. Nadia, my dear, go to the city. I've saved up money here, but you'll have enough for the first time. Try to get a job. Maybe you'll find a job. You'll get used to it somehow. What do you want to do in the village, young man? Go to the farm. So look at me. My hands, my feet are also dripping. The veins are now sticking out with the bugras. But it's not in vain that you graduated from school with a medal. And you'll be lucky. Well, if not, you'll always have time to come back. I only ask you one thing. Be careful with the boys. I understand everything. Youth, passion, and love. Don't rush to give up without a look. Don't jump into the mud with your head. You see how hard it was for me to lift you up without my husband. So be a good boy. So Nadia ended up in a big city. At first they came with her mother. Vera made her daughter live in a dormitory, paid for the room, and only then left with a calm heart. Although Nadia studied well, she failed to get into the science department. She didn't make it. Nadia was so upset and was shivering right on the stairs of the university. Everyone had already left. The building was empty, and she was sitting there, not knowing what to do with her. It was embarrassing to come back to the village, not having eaten anything. How could I look at my mother? She believed in her. What was there to live on? Maria Fyodorovna, a singer, approached her. She began to ask who she was and why she was crying. Nadia didn't know why I told her everything. She showed her passport and her documents. She was just so disgusting and sad, and she wanted to share it with someone. An old woman looked at the young girl, felt sorry for her, and suggested, "You know what? Don't be angry. You can't help with tears. Moscow didn't build up right away. You're not the first. You're not the last. It's not a problem if you don't do something right. Diploma is diploma. Everything is better than nothing. I heard that the place in the library is free. I'll ask for it tomorrow. If it works, I'll put you there. They pay a little, but you will live a poor life. And the work is not dusty. You can't carry bags on yourself. Just look. If I take care of you, don't be a." "Oh, thank you, Maria Fedorovna. I agree. Don't think I'm not like that. I'm a village girl. My mom raised me strictly. I'll try. I won't let you down. You came up with a great idea. I didn't think about the school department. I'll go to submit the documents tomorrow." An elderly woman rumbled. "Oh, you're all different at first." More than half a month later, she goes back. And with the fruit. Look at me. So Nadia slowly got used to the city. She worked at a good library. She even liked it. After all, she loved reading about us for a few years. Silence, peace, the main thing is neatness and perseverance. The studies were going well too. The diploma was soon scheduled. It was here, at her workplace, that she met Lyosha. This guy in stylish, expensive glasses often came here to study. He took a lot of literature and studied everything from one year to another. At first, they just communicated politely, then became friends. And one day, Lisha sat down until late and went to see Nadia home. It didn't take long to go. The dorm was nearby. The girl smiled and said, "Okay, thank you for taking me home. I'll call you for tea. Our watchman is strict. He doesn't like when strangers are being naughty." Lyosha suddenly took her by the hand and said, "Nadyusha, I like you very much. Can I call you for a date? Tomorrow, at 8 o'clock. Nadia was delighted. The guy was nice to her, and she answered. We agreed. Just look, no nonsense. Don't think that if I'm from the village, I'm a fool. I know. What are the manners now? Lyosha laughed and put his hand on the whisk. There's my general. No nonsense. Only cinema and ice cream. Is it coming? So they started to meet. There were kisses and walks under the moon. The guy took Nadia to the restaurant several times, but she didn't like it there. Beautiful, tasty, the music is chic, but not cozy. She preferred to walk along the embankment, feed ducks, and enjoy the nature. The most indelible impression on the girl was a walk on a boat along the river. She was full of joy. Emotions were beating through the edge. Alex's parents, learning about his new love, came to the rage and did not approve of his connection with a village girl. They believed that such scoundrels were only looking for rich fools to marry them and sign up for the capital. Lyosha brought Nadia home several times to his luxurious mansion. But every time his mother Nina Sergeyevna looked at Nadia as if she wanted to make a mess, pressing her lips down, that the girl hurriedly left this unpleasant house. Father Vadim Petrovich even had a scandal with Lyosha, trying to explain the written truths to him. Son, I saw your Nadia, but what did you find in her? No care, no glamour, and even from the collective farm. But where are you rushing? Why are you going to marry her? How are you going to keep the family? And where are you going to live? Do you live with her? Or will you bring her here? Don't even think about it. Mother will not survive this. Well, walk for now. Have fun with her, but nothing more. Well, there will be visible. But Lisha was straightforward and always lived with his mind. Dad, stop it. It's a useless conversation. I have a diploma in a month. I'll go to work. If you don't take me to the office, it's not a problem. I've already watched a couple of good companies. I'll get a manager. We'll rent an apartment and live like everyone else. I love Nadia. How can you not understand? I don't need anyone else. But why do you measure everything with money? And how is the feeling? Such clashes were happening more and more often, and Lyosha asked the question with a rib. If they don't stop taking him, he will leave the house. This option did not suit the parents either, because the son was the only one and loved, and they could not lose him. And then his mother came up with a very evil and insidious plan. Meanwhile, Nadia's mother, Vera Ivanovna, was preparing for the call to meet with the SWAT. She asked the chairman's wife for a beautiful dress. She spent the whole night suffering from iron baggies, which were lying around for years, about 20. Her friend made her a beautiful dress and light makeup, and gave her a boat and a fashionable handbag for the evening. Looking at herself in the mirror, Vera smiled and was satisfied with the result. And Lena, her friend, waved her hands. Varenchik, you are just a star. How beautiful. You don't have to give a cow, but to talk on the podium. Well, that's it. No fluff, no feathers. Good luck. Vera crossed the line. Thank you, Lena. I'm so worried it's shaking right now. I'll go drink some valerian. I wish everything went well. Only my heart feels bad. But what can I say to them? I haven't been to the Maldives. I haven't eaten amaras and lobsters. Unless they can get into position. Well, whatever happens, happens. I'm off. 2 hours later, Vera found the right address and the... Vera answered, hello, Yosef Filatov's number. I have to wait there for the... What's going on? Where are Lyosha's parents? The woman remembered them well, seen them in the photo. But there were completely strangers at the table. She touched a man who was sitting on the edge and asked, excuse me, I don't understand anything. Where are Nina Sergeyevna and Vadim Petrovich? They told me they should be waiting for me here. We don't even know. Nina Sergeyevna invited us to the banquet, ordered everything. You are Vera Ivanovna, right? We were still surprised by such generosity. But since a person pays, why not come? Apparently, this is a joke. I personally adore jokes. By the way, the kitchen here is simply divine. The oysters are the most fresh. You sit down, at least eat. Do you want to pour wine? And what is the occasion with you, by the way? What to congratulate? Blood hit Vera's head. She even felt bad. What a surprise, she thought with delight. What will this gorgeous banquet pay for? After all, the wallet is worth the same amount of money. There was nothing to do. Vera sat down, and with a sigh of sorrow, she waved a glass of wine. There was nothing to lose. To die with music. At this time, some singer was trying to perform on stage, but she had neither hearing nor voice. And the visitors began to whistle and shout to get her off the stage. It was really impossible to listen to it. Memories were poured on the woman. After all, she also once studied at a music school and gave hopes. Her main dream as a child was to become a singer and perform on stage. The whine and shock of what happened struck Vera in the head so much that she suddenly got up, decidedly walked right on stage, took the microphone. The sky will be covered with the dust of stars, and the branches will be bent firmly. I will hear you in 1,000 words. We echo, we echo, we are a long echo of each other. All in the hall suddenly quieted. The orchestra immediately picked up the motif and played it in a beat, and the audience began to clap. Many whispered, "This is divine, a copy of Anna German." And the woman even waved at her. What a talent! Such an intimate and sincere performance in a restaurant was never heard. Even the director ran out, and the hall exploded with applause. And people demanded a sequel. Vitaly Nikolaevich ran up and asked the waiter Sergei, "Who is this? And what is she doing on stage?" He only moved his shoulders. Just a woman decided to sing. Our Paulina was kicked out of the scene with a crack. And this one is standing there and applauding. But the voices are really super, agree? The director walked closer, looked at each other, and sighed. He began to clap louder than anyone else and shouted, "Vera, you are great." The woman, hearing the familiar voice, looked at the man and barely held her feet. It was him, Vitalik, her first and strongest and brightest love. She was embarrassed and left the stage. A man came to her. "Vera, what a meeting. How many years, how many winters? You're still so beautiful." And the voice, "I've never seen such a thing in my life. How did you get here? Are you celebrating something?" Vera smiled bitterly. "Yes, Vitalik, I'm celebrating. The last day of my life." He was surprised. "Come on, don't say that. Explain what's the point." Vera couldn't take it and suddenly burst into tears. "So, my surprise guests arranged it. They said, come into the restaurant. They gave the name and the table number. They said, we will meet. And they ordered expensive banquets themselves and invited strangers. And I should pay. Can you imagine? After all, they knew perfectly well that I am a rich woman from the village and I have no money. They decided to be brave and to disgrace me. It's great, isn't it? How am I going to pay? There are only a few kopecks in my wallet. Good relatives. Poor daughter. She doesn't suspect anything. And their son, Alex, seems to be a normal guy. I was so happy for them. And now what? So I decided to sing with grief. They will still kick me out of the restaurant. Or maybe they will call the police now. Vitaly called the waiter to himself. I'll pay for this banquet. Got it? This woman is my good friend, and she should not do anything. Vera rushed to hug the rescuer. Vitalik, thank you. You saved the poor village Doyarka from shame. At this time, the visitors asked for the performance of The Abyss, and the director asked, Vera, can I ask you to sing for the visitors again? And in general, go to work for me. You have such a divine voice that the whole city will only go to my restaurant, and the competitors will die of envy. Well, what did you forget in the village? Will you give cows again? And so, even if you work normally, I will not offend. Vera's head just went round from everything that was happening. So many events of good and bad. Everything was mixed. She went on stage again and sang easily and confidently. The world is not easy at all. You can't hide from the storm and the thunder. The hall immediately picked up the old well-known melody, and everyone applauded again. That evening, Vera did not go home by bus. They talked to Vitalik for a long time, drank wine, and then he himself took her to the village. The daughter called 3 times, asking everything over, how the evening went. The first time Vera was told everything, how painful and hurtful it was for her, and that it was probably not worth connecting the fate of the daughter with such nasty people. But then she remembered Lyosha, his kind eyes, and decided that the children were not responsible for the parents, and that it was not worth destroying the happiness of the young. She replied cheerfully, Everything is fine, Nadyusha, do not worry. They sat well, very warmly. Lena's friend came running from the very morning. She couldn't wait to find out everything. Vera, open up. Are you still sleeping? What about the farm? They'll scold you. Tell me, how did it all go? You were a beauty, right? The woman smiled happily. Lena, if I tell you everything, you'll never believe it. Do you know who I met? He is the director of the restaurant. I sang a song there, and he offered me to work for him. Can you imagine that? From the doyarka to the singer. It's a nightmare. I can't believe it myself. The friend laughed. What are you doing? The one you had a romance with in music school? Don't be so sad. Tell me. I'm going to burst out of curiosity. Vida laughed. What can I tell you? I was a student. I studied in the city. He was also in the vocal department. We met there. I fell in love with him right away. I was in love with him. He was so passionate, gentle, fiery, and very jealous. He gave me roses, sang serenades, and they were swearing in a rush. In general, like on a volcano, and then they were swearing at me for stupidity. He was jealous of me, and I was mortally offended. So they ran away. I met Vajya soon and went to live with him in the village. I spat on everything. I was stupid, young and stupid. What can you say? And yesterday, I barely recognized him. Such a shirk to his bullies. Of course agree. It's like winning $1 million in lottery. Such a chance falls out once in a lifetime. You've been dreaming of becoming a singer all your childhood. You've been wandering right. So here it is, your dream comes true. What to think here? Vida doubted. And how can I leave the house? And the household? I'm used to everything here, my own, my dear. Lena, calm her down. Don't worry. I'll take care of your house. I'll give your little one some food, and I'll take care of the dog too. Go and don't even think about it. As you told your Nadia, you'll always have time to come back. And Vera decided to take a risk. She moved to the city. Vitaly rented her a cozy apartment near the restaurant and decidedly said, So, Vera, tomorrow you have your first working day, or rather evening. And today we're going to create an image for you. Otherwise, I see that you have not many outfits. Vera was embarrassed. What outfits in the village? Why are they there? I've already forgotten what it is. But I haven't earned money for outfits yet. Vitaly waved his hand. Here, take it. Think that this is an advance. You are now the face of the establishment, his business card, so to speak. We will keep the brand. Vera understood it herself. He is right. You have to get yourself in order, or you'll be ashamed to show yourself to people. And Vitaly first took her to the beauty salon, and then to a boutique with fashionable clothes. Vera never experienced such pleasure when the soft hands of the master did care procedures and massage for her, and then manicure. Then her hair was refreshed, and 2 hours later she came out a completely different person. Vitaly even whistled. You are indescribable, right? I can imagine what will happen when we dress you up. In general, a waste. The woman was amazed by such compliments. She did not recognize herself. Where to go, stained with life and bright. Now she was looked at by a mirror by a visible, secular, well-groomed lady. The first evening in the restaurant went well. The customers were delighted with the new singer. Her melodic voice and beautiful songs of love were a perfect fit for romance and added mood and positive emotions. Having learned such news, the daughter was even happy for her mother. Finally, she will have a rest and do her real favorite thing. Every day, Vitaly fell in love with Vera again and again. He could not fall in love with her. He began to stay at work just to stay with her for a little while. But he still didn't dare to admit his feelings. After all, he was married long ago. Even then, after a painful separation with Vera in his youth, his parents persuaded him to marry the rich heir of Tamara. She was greedy for money, knew her worth, and had a terribly capricious character. At first, family life seemed to be getting better, but Vitaly dreamed of children, and Tamara did not agree to get pregnant at all. She carefully protected herself and did not want to spoil the flawless figure. Over the years, they were getting further apart from each other. The wife began to drink more and more often. At first, these were harmless cocktails with her friends, champagne and wine. And then more. In an untruthful state, she behaved simply shamelessly. She arranged wild scenes of jealousy and scandals. Vitaly repeatedly tried to appeal to her for her conscience. She seemed to have taken it for granted, but for a long time she lacked it. Tamara was a very festive person. She didn't do anything, she just hung out with friends and social events. She blamed her husband for not paying attention to her. She rarely came home. Vitaly wanted to divorce her long ago, but he felt sorry for her. He understood that she would definitely fall for him. But now, when he met Vera, He couldn't stand the old-fashioned alcoholic wife. Vera's career was going up. She started to earn a lot. But she didn't spend much on herself. She put off her children for the wedding. She wanted to put her. Where did she get that money to pay for the expensive banquet? The woman got angry and mercilessly sought her husband. Vadim, why are we sitting here folding our hands? We need to do something. After all, Nina Sergeyevna's birthday was scheduled, and they decided to celebrate it with their spouse in their favorite restaurant. Naturally, neither their son nor Nadia were invited, so as not to be ashamed of the guests. In the midst of the celebration, the host announced, "Dear guests, now our new singer Vera will perform in front of you. I assure you, her divine voice will not leave anyone indifferent." Everyone was interested in the stage, and then she came out. Vera looked great in a long. It literally covered the wave of hatred and envy. Only one thought was in my head. How this crowded village, not covered, managed to get out into the crowd. It's just incredible, and it was so much fun, as if the star of the Estrada was really there. But that was not all. Vera also recognized Nina and her husband and decided to present them with a surprise. It was simply impossible to hold on. When the applause stopped and the audience calmed down, Vera took the microphone again and said loudly, "Ladies and gentlemen, I will take the courage to congratulate the dear Filatova Nina Sergeyevna on her birthday. I have heard about her kind and responsive character, and in general, she is a great person. Is it a joke to show such generosity and order a chic banquet for future parties? This is an honor, to be honest. Thank you for everything, Nina Sergeyevna. Be happy. You will be rewarded for your good deeds." Everyone applauded, not suspecting anything, and only Nina herself blushed like a boiled cancer, perfectly catching the mockery. She wanted to immediately get into the hair of this scoundrel, but this was not possible. There were people around her. She had to say thank you and applaud too. Nina was eating one glass after another and nervously watching Vera's performance. She was not surprised that the restaurant manager personally gave her a gorgeous bouquet of roses. And so, intently looking at her, Swa was gazing at herself. Yeah, now I understand everything. So here's who our kind wizard is. Maybe she managed to sleep over with the manager so as not to pay the banquet. And she also knocked out a job for herself at the same time. Quickly. All in daughter. Well, nothing. I will tell the wife of Vitaly Nikolaevich about his adventures on the side and new passion. Let's see how she will endure the cosmos. Then there will definitely be no wedding of a son. I will draw a son that the apple falls from the apple tree not far away. And his nanny is the same. It's a pity he didn't understand it yet. The next day, Nina Sergeyevna agreed to meet Tamara in the cafe. Knowing her passion for alcohol, the woman ordered a strong wine and after drinking the glass, began a heartfelt conversation. "Do you see, Tamara? I respect you very much and could not help but warn you. Only the lazy do not get in the way of the fact that your husband has a mistress. This is a new singer from his restaurant, Vera. I saw her. Nothing special. Not only is she ordinary, but also bright village. And her voice is very moderate. I can't imagine where your Vitaly only dug her up. He's just in a daze near her. So you should take the measures before it's too late. I've been married for a long time, and it hurts me to see how such a strong and happy family like yours can collapse because of some village fool." Tamara changed her face and became pale like chalk. "Is that right? What a scoundrel. And I wonder why he almost stopped coming home and is behaving strangely. He hides everything. So that's the thing. Thank you, Ninotchka, for your female solidarity. What's there to be? I'll go right now and set this tailbone on fire. She'll dance with me. It will take a long time to drive away the hunt of other men from the family." The woman decidedly got up, paid her dues, and left not quite sober. Nina was enjoying her loneliness and was absolutely satisfied with herself. Well, that's it. Now this faith is over. After all, many knew the scandalous temper of Tamara. That evening Vera was preparing for a performance in the basement, when a drunk Tamara burst into her fury. Her eyes were burning with insane, unhealthy fire, and began to shout, "Oh, you're a collective farm bitch. You decided to take my husband away from the family. You're a bitch. We've been married to Vitali all our lives. And then you appeared. He doesn't look at me anymore. He doesn't look at my eyes, so get out of the city. Go back to your sloth right now. Otherwise, I'll pull out all your hair. Or I'll make it worse for you. Do you understand me? Vitalik is mine and forever. Do you understand? Vera was fighting back and shouting, help. You're not normal. I don't sleep with your husband. We're just old friends. He offered me a job. I just sing, and that's it. Don't believe him. Ask him yourself. I have no reason to lie. But the angry Tamara could not be stopped. She was yelling at the restaurant. A frightened waiter came to the scream and barely took the woman away. He knew the director's violent temperament and watched such scenes more than once. So he began to calm her down and slowly take her away. Vera was crying. She was humiliated and humiliated, mixed with dirt. No, she won't stay here for a minute. Well, all of them. The woman canceled the performance, ran to the apartment, politely collected her suitcase, leaving all the things that Vitali had bought for her. And she left home on the first flight. When Lena's sleep-deprived friend, opened the door late in the evening and saw the weeping Vera, she went crazy. Vera, what's wrong? What happened? The woman was crying and said, That's it, Lena, I'm done. I don't want anything. Give me the keys. I'll take the Kisamanka tomorrow and go back to the farm. I was so humiliated, they called me under the bed, and I didn't even think about it. I feel so bad. Lena understood that she had to save her friend. She forced her to go to her room, took out the cherry infusion, poured it over the cups and ordered, Come on, drink it, and to the bottom. And then cry as much as you can. Wax will ease. It always helps me when my husband throws out the fort. They sat in the kitchen for a long time. Vera poured out her soul, gradually getting calmer and calmer. The stubborn Lena asked, You love him, don't you? Tell me the truth. Otherwise you wouldn't be offended. Do you still love him? The woman nodded her head in agreement. I love you, Lena. Of course I love you. My heart is pounding. My veins are boiling. I just remembered, Vitali is married. And this Megara will not let him go. So I have to forget him, get out of my heart. But how? Tell me, how can I order myself to forget him, when I still remember his hands? And so many years have passed. And Nadiushka is from him, you know? He is her father. Lena even jumped up. How so? You never said. I thought she was from your husband, Vazia. Vera said again. Everyone thought so. And the daughter thinks so. Not a single living soul knew about it. When I broke up with Vitali, I realized that I was pregnant only a month later. I was scared. And then Vazia began to take care of me. Well, I found a way out. I was young. I didn't tell him anything. And I began to live with him. He was good, he loved me. He found out that I was pregnant. He was happy. He loved Nadiushka. His soul was not in her. And I could not admit to him that she was not his. That's how it is. The friend whistled. Wow, a turn. What's wrong with you? Vazia hasn't been here for a long time. Tell Vitali about his daughter. He has the right to know. Vera just waved her hand. Why? So many years have passed. He has his own family. How am I going to explain all this to my daughter? No, Lena, I don't want anything. I will live as I want, and it's over. The singers didn't come out of me. It's not destiny. Vitali was no less shocked when the waiter told him about Tamara's wild scandal and about her visit to Vera. He said that she ran away from the restaurant in tears and no one else saw her. Vitali thought that his heart at that moment stopped beating. He couldn't let his thoughts that he would lose Vera. She became the meaning of his life, the second breath. The man rushed to the rented apartment first. She was open. The keys were on the shelves in the corridor. All the things were neatly folded on the couch, and Vera's trail was frozen. Vitali tore his hair on himself. Fool! Idiot! It's all my fault. It was necessary to talk to Vera for a long time, confess to her in love, and finally divorce. And now what? I imagine how Vera is offended, how she gets angry at me. So humiliated. Vitali went home in rage. Tamara, as usual, drank whiskey. Lying in her chair, the TV was on. The man, not moving, went into the hall, turned off the TV, and said to his wife, Tamara, I know everything. Why did you do this shameless scandal? You offended an innocent man. The drunk woman laughed. These are flowers. If they ever appear near you, I swear I'll pull out all my hair and make a quick move. You'll see how to get a husband out of the family. Vitaliv got mad. What family? Tamara? Remember, where do you see your family? We've been living like neighbors in the communal apartment for a long time. We don't even have anything to talk about. You have only one friend, a bottle. That's it, my patience has burst. We're getting divorced. Tamara jumped out of the chair, but fell down and fell straight on the floor. Vitaly sighed and helped her get up. The woman shouted, "Take it into account. I'll get everything back from you. You'll be left without a penny. You know who my father is, don't you? I won't give you a divorce." Vitaly decidedly replied, "I don't care. Take everything. I have enough strength and brains to start my business again, from scratch. Think about yourself. My advice to you, take yourself into your own hands. If you want, I'll agree and you'll go through the treatment in an anonymous clinic. You're killing yourself. Tamara, I don't want us to be enemies." But the woman continued to swear and curse at her husband and Vera. Vitaly looked at her with disgust for the last time and said goodbye. Tamara. Live as you know, 3 weeks passed. Vera didn't live all this time, but just existed. Like a robot, she went to the farm and back. But all the thoughts were only about Vitaly. How she missed him, how she was so sad. She lacked a voice, a gaze, burning eyes, a smile. She was so angry that she didn't tell the truth to her daughter. Lena visited her friend, encouraged her as much as she could. "Verenchik, cheer up. Eat something. You've lost weight and lost weight. You can't do that. Don't think about him." Vera started crying right away. "I can't. How can I not think about it? I love him. Only now I realized it. I can't live without him. I didn't even think that an old love could burst with such power. It's good that Nadia doesn't see this. Otherwise, she would say that her mother is crazy about old age. Then the daughter has a wedding on her nose, and I fell in love like a girl. Shameful." Lena hugged her friend. "You're silly. It's good that you fell in love. You'll see if he loves you too. He'll come for sure." It was early morning. Vera was still asleep. Suddenly a car came up to the house, and the noise was suddenly heard, tearing off the leash. The woman's heart was beating madly, and she, on her unbending feet, as she was in her slippers, went to open it. On the doorstep was Vitaly with a huge bouquet of alcrows and a suitcase. He said quietly, "I'm your Verachka, but not at all. Stammer got divorced. You forgive her for her wild scandal. I love you, Vera, as then, in youth even more, and I will not give you to anyone. You can come in. You won't drive me away." Vera cried and threw herself on Vitaly's neck. She clung to him and whispered, "I love you too, and I will not let you go anywhere else. You see, I felt so bad without you. Oh, what are we waiting for? Come on, my dear. I'm going to the farm now, feeding the bull and back. I'll bring you some milk." Vitaly kissed her. "You're going there for the last time, and I'm going with you. I'll help you. And then we're leaving. To the city. Forever. Enough of your whining, Verachka. Now you have me. Vida laughed. Don't laugh. I'm afraid my girls won't appreciate your business suit. No, wait for me at home. Get settled for now. I'll be back soon." Vera quickly got over it. She shone like the sun. Lena asked her, "Why are you shining, my friend? You didn't wait for me like a nice guy." Vera nodded. "You waited for me, Lena. You waited for me. He got divorced, and he's taking me to his place. We're leaving. Oh God, I'm so happy. My friend took over Vera. Well, I told you if he loves, he'll come back. And you told him about your daughter. No, Vera, you can't do that. He's a father." The woman agreed. "I haven't had time yet, but you're right. You can't do that. I'll come right now and tell you." "Well, goodbye, Lena. Now we will come here like to come to the dacha." The friend waved her hand. "Good luck to you, Verenchik. You deserve it." Vera changed clothes in the corridor, went to the bathhouse, and already heard a delicious smell from the door. She looked into the summer kitchen and sighed. Vitalik in a suit and front packs was all dressed up near the frying pan. She was fried with eggs. The woman laughed. "Oh, is the breakfast ready? I didn't expect it." "Thank you." Vitalik sweated. "You won't believe it. The restaurant's manager himself couldn't cook properly. and didn't learn how to. The eggplants are already burnt. You have only one hope. They had breakfast, and Vera decided to have an honest conversation. Vitalik, listen. What I'm about to say will probably surprise you a lot. Nadia is your daughter. When we broke up, I realized that I was pregnant, and then I met Vajia. And, he didn't understand anything. He thought his daughter was born prematurely, a month earlier. He loved Nadia very much, only died early. And only I knew that it wasn't his. It was your daughter. That's how it was. I know, I did something wrong and unfair, but then I didn't see another way out. The man couldn't believe it. The tears fell on his eyes. Oh my God, Vera. I didn't even hope to become a father. Tamara didn't want to give birth at all. I always wanted to have children. What a happiness. But your husband died a long time ago. Why didn't you find me earlier? Why didn't you tell me? I would have left everything right away. I would have helped. I would have loved her. The woman only sighed. Well, I thought you have your own family. Why do you need all this? And it is not known whether you would believe me or not. Another question. How can I tell Nadia about this now? She considers Vajia as her father, although she does not remember him at all. But still, how can I explain all this? I cannot imagine. And what will she think about me? Vitaly came to Vera, pressed her to himself, and passionately kissed. Then he whispered, Verachka, you are too complicated with life. Everything is formed by itself. You will see. Just do not hurry. And both of them were covered in the ocean of passion. They did not notice the old, creaking sofa, the noise in the yard, the rooster that did not scream all over the area. They just dissolved into each other. From that very day, Vera's life changed dramatically, as if in that very fairy tale about Zalazka, which was finally found by the beautiful prince and tried on a shoe. They left for the city with Vitaly, began to live in the same rented apartment. After all, Tamara managed to take it all away, except the restaurant. But it did not scare them both. Vera began to sing as usual. The clients went with pleasure, and the business only grew and expanded. Vitaly met Nadia and Alexei. They started talking. He looked at his daughter and found his features in her. The motherland above the eyebrows, those slightly protruding ears, and his look. And one day he couldn't stand it and decided to talk. He waited until Nadia would leave work and came up to her. Nadia, let's sit down. I have a very important conversation with you. I don't know how to start, honestly. I can't walk around. So I'll be honest. I'm your father. My dear, you don't think I'm a scoundrel or abandoned you, do you? I just recently found out this terrible secret from your mother. Nadia was shocked and often blurted out, how's father? I don't understand anything. And my dad, Vajia's dad, then who? Is he a father? But it's not true, because Mom never. The man suddenly stopped. I know, Nadia, Mom never told anyone about it. And she probably had her own reasons for it. Don't judge her strictly. Your mom and I once loved each other as much as you and Alexei. You know? I was just a jealous fool, and your mom was very offensive. So we broke up, and recently we met at a restaurant by chance. You want to believe, you want to not, but I fell in love with Vera again. I realized that I never stopped loving her. But I saw her, and my heart was turned upside down. And she really loves me too. I feel it. I understand, in our age, it probably looks funny and ridiculous from the outside. Nadia, I'm very happy that you're my daughter. I know, time has passed, and you're not a child anymore. But we can get over it. Support each other, love, and communicate. I would love to do that. Nadia moved closer to Vitaly and took him in her arms. I don't mind, Dad. I'm happy for you and Mom. Thank you for taking her out of the village routine. That she won't have to mow the dirt and carry heavy bidons anymore. And it's not a joke to fall in love at your age. It's great. Vitaly hugged his daughter. How wise you are with Mom. Not by the years. We need to learn from you. Lyosha and Nadia were just having tea at the guy's place. She told him all the news about Mom and Vitaly, and about how she found her father. The guy was just surprised. She went to Nina Sergeyevna and grumbled when she saw the future snow. But her son immediately hugged her. Mom, there's such news here, you just won't believe it. Nadia is not just the daughter of a doyark, but also a rich heiress. Her father is a famous restaurateur Vitaly Mesheryakov. How do you like this turn? Maybe now you will finally calm down and stop putting sticks in our wheels? Or you don't want to talk to us? Lyosha laughed, watching the face of his mother. Her face was expressing all the emotions: shock, surprise, shame, and awkward moments. Nadia was also having fun. Now your mother-in-law will definitely be more affectionate towards her. Nina Sergeyevna immediately took herself in her hands. Yelena smiled and began to pinch. So what about me? Am I against it? Get married, guys, for the health of your health. Dad and I are only for it. I always said, Nadia, you're a smart girl. You will have a good wife and a mistress. The young man burst out laughing because the women were literally replaced. Vitaly and Vera bought a large country house and decided to offer the young people to live together. After all, there are 2 floors with balconies, enough space for everyone. The man really wanted to be closer to his daughter, see her more often, know how and how she lives. And Vera sincerely hoped that her grandchildren would come soon, just be able to help her nanny. Lyosha and Nadia gladly accepted such an offer. But they went even further. Nadia called out, Mom, Dad, let's have a double wedding. Just imagine, Mom and I are going to the wedding. We'll never forget it. Great. Again, we'll have to walk the banquet once. It's a complete saving. Vera blushed. I don't know. It's a shame to go to the wedding at my age. I thought we'd write it off quietly with Vitalik, and that's it, or people would laugh. And then Vitaly himself interfered. Well, no, my dear. When I was young, I managed to lose my beloved girl. Then I had to call her now. You didn't have a wedding with Vashya either, did you? And in the life of every woman, there must at least once be a white wedding dress. So I'm only for. Let's surprise the whole city. And what about people? I don't care about them. This is only our life, and it doesn't concern anyone. And so the day of the wedding was coming. Vitaly and Lisha could not help but admire their beloved ones. They were so happy. Nadia chose a lush, flying dress with a skirt and a long coat. She looked like a princess who gave a ball. Vera, on the contrary, purchased a coat with long, snow-white, sewn-out stripes, and instead of a coat, she stitched flowers. Organically, she put them into her hairstyle. Both looked just stunning. Nadia whispered to Vera, Mom, do you believe in this? A few years ago, we lived in the village, and you were a cow. And now we are in a fancy restaurant, and both of us are getting married to the most beloved and reliable men. Kiss me. It's a fairy tale. I don't believe it. Vera hugged her daughter. I don't believe it myself, daughter. I'm afraid to sleep at night. Maybe I'll open my eyes in the morning, but there's nothing like that. I didn't hope to meet Vitaly one day, so your mother-in-law helped me with that. If it weren't for the meeting at the restaurant, there would be nothing like that. They say it's not in vain. Happiness and misfortune would not have helped. A friend of Vera and Lena came up to them and whispered, well, girls, let's drink to you. I'm so happy. Thank you, Verenchik, for inviting me. I've never been in such a gorgeous place in my life. Vera laughed. How can I not invite you? We've been together since childhood. Here, Nadia, we will be able to make our grandson, and we will also walk on the crosses, right, daughter? Don't drag it on. Nadia smiled slyly. By the way, Mom, you're not old at all, so maybe it's my brother who was born first. Everything happens. Everyone laughed and drank champagne together. The holiday was a success. Nina Sergeyevna and Vadim Petrovich asked for Vitaly and Vera. They tried to set up the damaged relationships, but now they realize that they can't judge people only by their clothes and the state of society. The main thing in a person is the soul, kindness, and responsiveness. But Vera and Vitaly were not forgetful people. A woman approached Nina Sergeyevna with a peace of mind and said, well, Sva, let's drink to the happiness of our children. Or are you still not happy with this wedding? The woman blushed and looked down and said, I'm sorry, Vera, that I was so cruel to you back then. And I told everything to Vitaly's wife. I don't know what happened to me. It was just like a trap. And now I'm very ashamed and scared because I could destroy my son's happiness with my own hands. It's good that Lyosha was smarter than us and his husband and stood firmly on his own, defending his right to love. Vera smiled. I know, Nina, that you did all this. But believe me, I'm even grateful to you for that. Honestly, first, if I hadn't come to the restaurant then, I would never have met Vitaly. And second, if it weren't for that wild scandal with Tamara, then Vitaly and I would have not yet decided to confess to each other in love. So everything is for the best. I don't mind. But let's stop here. Now we are one family, and I want peace and peace in it. Deal? Nina happily raised her glass. Deal. For two new families at once. Be happy.